Jason Lampley was supposed to be here to do a best practices presentation, and I was going to piggyback on what's happened at ADOT in the last year or so. Jason couldn't make it, so this is going to be a very quick, to-the-point presentation. So I just have a Word document. I'll run through it real quick. About 2 years ago, we had some very high-profile chip seal failures at ADOT. That triggered pretty much an immediate moratorium on emulsion chip seals. No more, we were done. We were required at that point to transition everything over to a terminal blend TR plus hot applied chip seal. Everybody in the pavement management side and the preservation side knew that emulsion still had a role to play. We had to take a step back and try to figure out, one, what happened and how do we try to prevent it from happening again. It took a couple months. We decided that we had to go back and look at our best practice. What happened? Where was the failure? Was it installation? Was it specs? Was it design? Or all of the above? So we decided that we were going to basically do an entire overhaul of our best practices. We initiated a chip seal working group that lasted about 9 months, and this was a combined effort of ADOT, some major contractors in the state, and also the supply chain. You can't forget your supply chain, because they provide the materials that you use. So we wanted to make sure they were involved in this process. This resulted in numerous changes to the ADOT documents, and new best practices were created as a result of the chip seal working efforts. We basically scrapped all the chip seal parts in our Section 404 bituminous spec and redid them. We went through and through this working group actually made them much better. And that spec change is just about being finalized right now. Also, as part of this working group, we looked at how can we do this better? How can we as an agency work with our contractors on a more equal basis, hands-on basis, to make a project, the outcome better for everybody. We decided to work on we took knowledge that we had on project selection and actually documented it. So we created a best practice for project selection. So we created a project selection document that everybody was on the same page on. We knew how we were going to select the projects. We knew if they reached past a certain amount of distress, they weren't eligible for a chip seal, or they had to have some other sort of remedial treatment before chip seals were applied. We also developed another document that was chip seal design and test strip consideration. This document was created as a guide for the development of the chip seal design and make recommendations for a pre-production chip seal test strip, the test for the application rates and embedment. With a rubberized chip, we're looking at an application rate of anywhere from 0.55 to 0.65. It's very heavy. We put this test strip down under live traffic. We put it down, we let traffic go over it. We see how the embedment is. We see if we get rock loss, immediate rock loss. If everything looks good on that type of pavement, we'll let the contractor move forward. Let's say down the road we have a spot repair, different type of pavement. We'll do another test strip on this brand new pavement because it may require either an increase or a decrease in the application rate. And we'll do another test strip to make sure we're optimizing what we're putting on the pavement. And also we always have a partnering meeting with the contractor before the project starts. In meetings with the contractor, there was always questions that came up during construction that either would slow down progress or bring it to a stop until those questions could be answered. And so we came up with a pre-construction chip seal projects document that would identify almost all of the key issues on the project before the first dump truck ever arrived. That involved individual involved schedule, paving plan, materials, equipment, traffic control, surface preparation. A good faith effort is made by everybody involved. Everybody is part of this to answer all the typical questions that occur during the course of a project before it starts. So a lot of these documents and these best practices didn't exist up until this effort, but now they do. And we've already gone through several projects using this method, and we haven't had a single failure. The contractors love it, ADOT loves it. The outcomes, the results we get from our chip seals are much better. And as a result of this, we came up with a plan that the state engineer's office bought off on, that we brought emulsions back. We're allowed to use them on low volume roads. We consider low volumes less than 5,000 ADT. On our low volume roads, we're allowed to use emulsions where it makes sense. On our high volume roads, it's purely a Tierra plus environment only. A terminal rubber is not available. We can back up into a chrome rubber type chip seal. We had to get past that moratorium. We had to find a way to bring emulsions back because we knew it had a role to play. But we had to go through and reevaluate all of our best practices. We threw it all away and started from scratch, kept some of the pieces that we had in the past and made them better. Any questions before we move on to the next presentation.
Are these documents something that's on your site somewhere up there?
Not quite yet. I do have drafts. I brought 15 copies of each document. I brought one for every state that wants them. I'll be more than happy to hand them out. Just contact me during the break. If you want to see what we're doing, it's open to everybody. If it can help you in any way create a more inclusive best practice in your state, please use them.
I notice you use the thermal blend rubber, is that right?
Yes.
You used to use asphalt rubber for chip seals. Why aren't you using asphalt rubber chip
Well,
seals?
that's our, I think that's our chrome rubber.
Well, there are different. If you're shooting down 55/100ths of a gallon to 65/100ths of a gallon per square yard, that is the asphalt rubber application rate.
Then that may be a term that was used in the past. We used TR plus terminal rubber now as the term.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Ben Worrell. What were the failures? Or you didn't quite say, you said you had failures.
We had two different types of projects. One was a pure chip seal project in northern Arizona. Another one was a chip seal on a brand new pavement. They both had extreme cases of immediate rock loss, which caused hundreds, probably close to about 1,000 claims. Some of them were very expensive. We had I think it was a high-speed ski boat that had to be completely re-gel coated. So it was very costly. It made the news. The public was outraged. I mean, it reached the highest level of ADOT of the mess that was made.
Did you all determine what the cause of those failures were?
No, we were very careful not to point fingers. I believe it was environmental. I think the conditions weren't conducive to the type of process we were using. It was too hot. Anyway, we think the emulsion just broke so fast it never had a chance to grab the rock.
The preceding was produced by the National Center for Pavement Preservation. More information can be found on the web at pavementpreservation.org. Additional support provided by Michigan State University.